All right, what's up, millennials? So today we're going to do something very special. This is actually the start of an interview series that I wanted to do with young people who are actually investing. Because what I want to do is I want to show everyone that investing isn't just for rich old men on Wall Street, but that everyone can do it. So today we're actually talking with Breyanna. Breyanna, how are you doing?
I'm doing good. How are you doing?
Very well, very well. It's a little bit earlier there than it is right here, right?
Yeah, it's almost 2 o'clock, and I'm sure it's pretty late over there.
It's almost 9 o'clock p.m. over here, yeah. All dark.
Yeah,
So why don't you introduce yourself for a second?
I'm Brianna. I am a 20-year-old real estate agent down here from the United States. I've been doing real estate for about 2 years, and I really like it, and that's kind of what sparked my interest in investing.
So you're 20 years old.
Yeah, 20 years old. I just turned 20 back in March.
Oh, wow. I'm not sure if you noticed my YouTube channel, the name of my YouTube channel.
Oh, yeah.
I
Which
didn't
one?
I didn't hear
You
you for a second,
you
but
have
yeah, well, my YouTube channel is mainly for millennials. But well, of course, you're not a millennial. You're actually from Generation Z then.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess I would be considered Generation Z. I keep thinking my dad, my grandparents, or my parents are baby boomers, but they're not. They're millennials themselves.
So you live with your parents?
Yeah, I still live with my family. I just believe in. I feel that it's not. I feel everyone jumps the gun and kind of leaves way earlier than they need to. I understand if your parents don't want you to live with them. Some people are very second you turn 18, you're out the house. And that's pretty
Yeah.
common here in America. But at least for Hispanic families, some people stay with their families till they're like almost 30. I'm not planning on doing that. But even if I stay here till 23, 24, 25, that gives me a lot of extra time that I don't have to pay a mortgage, a lot of extra money I can save to invest in rental properties and whatnot.
I love that mentality.
Yeah,
So
I'm perfectly fine staying home if it can save me a couple. I mean, that could be like an extra 10, 20,000 over the course of the next couple years.
yeah, and if you start investing that right away when you're 20 years old, that could become a pretty neat amount of money at some point in time.
Yeah, that can be a very neat amount of money.
So let's talk about investing a little bit because when did you start investing?
I started investing about a year ago and kind of just started from looking at ways to make more money. So I've
Hmm.
done things like DoorDash and I've done things like donating plasma. I've just done whatever I can to try to make extra money.
Yeah.
And I found that the best way to do it is to invest your money and
Hmm.
let it grow for you.
All right. Okay. And why did you start investing then? Action.
I started investing when I actually, from Meet Kevin's courses, when he was in the live streams, I didn't know anything about stocks or investing. But as I was in the live streams, during that huge downturn when this whole coronavirus situation started, he
Yeah.
was constantly telling everybody, invest, invest,
All
invest, put all
right.
your money in the markets. It's a red day. I didn't know what that meant. I didn't know what red days were, but I said, okay. And so I threw a bunch of money into the markets during those super low days, the lowest they've been in a long time.
Oh wow. So you just did it. You didn't have any fears or anything when you started?
I think that the general idea is that investing is something that the rich does,
Hmm.
even though anybody can invest. But people kind of see it as just wealthy people invest,
Yeah.
and they don't see it as something that's attainable. And for me, I like to think that if I can do anything that I want to do if I just go and do it. I've always thought that I like a quote from Henry Ford that's whether you think you can or you think you can't, you are right. And
Uh,
so I was like, well, if the rich people are doing it, then I should probably do it. And Kevin is a millionaire. And so I said, if he's telling me to invest, then I'm just going to trust him and I'm going to see what happens. And it just happened to work out for me. But in general, I think there's nothing wrong with telling people to invest. Like
Definitely.
you're not going to be amazing at it, but just that one word, look into it and do it. Just invest, invest, invest.
So basically, you started investing because you saw, well, Meet Kevin doing the same thing and Meet Kevin saying, well, you should invest. So how did you come across his channel? Because of real estate then?
Yeah, I came across through him. I came across Meet Kevin through Graham Stephan,
Ah, okay.
and I watch a lot of Graham Stephan. I watch a lot of financial education, Andre Jake,
Yeah.
and Graham Stephan specifically brought me towards Meet Kevin. And at first, I wasn't really into his style because Kevin has a different style than Graham.
Definitely.
I'm
Yeah.
sure if you'd noticed, he's more
Yeah.
analytical, and I got used to it. And I started to just want to listen to him more just because he's just so much more detailed and analytical. And I started to really like the extra details. Um, but also, I like how transparent he is in
Definitely.
regards to his investments.
Hmm.
I think that makes a big difference in how much you trust somebody with your money. And so I trusted what he was saying. And also, I mean, you have a lot of other people on the Discord, for example, from Meet Kevin's course specifically, who are also doing the same things and that are also trying to be successful. And when you're around like minded people, you want to do some of the same things.
Yeah. So you watch pretty much all the like big stock squad people on YouTube then, Graham Stephan, Meet Kevin, Andre Yek, financial education as well, I suppose.
Yeah, yeah, I watch all of them. I love
Yeah.
YouTube and I spend far too much time on YouTube. But
I'm not sure if that's even possible to spend too much time on YouTube,
oh
but
yeah, and I think at least it's on financial stuff, but
exactly.
there's just so much you can learn just through YouTube. Investing is scary at first, but just go to YouTube, how to invest,
Yeah.
and you just fall into a pothole of videos on videos on videos of different strategies and different methods. And what I did is I just kind of combined all of them together and did something that I was comfortable with and that worked for me after watching several people invest and use their own strategies.
So did you in high school, did you learn anything about finance or investing or real estate?
No, I actually didn't. I'm surprised. I've always heard that if you're majoring in business in college, for example, they're
Hmm.
kind of teaching you how to be a manager, but they're not teaching you how to be a CEO of a
Right.
company.
Yeah.
They're teaching you how to run other things and kind of how to manage people, but it's not teaching you how to create the company and be the entrepreneur and be the CEO from the bottom up. And I think that's the difference. And I think that schools, and I'm not the only one who feels that way, but I think a lot of people here in America and probably all over the place feel that schools need to start teaching more about how to do taxes, how to buy a house, how to invest,
Definitely.
different avenues as opposed to college because there's so much more options, but they only make college the number one option for everybody, even if it's
Yeah.
not the most feasible for everybody. In some cases, trade school would be more feasible than college, but college is the one that's pushed and pushed and pushed.
Yeah, I think so too. And well, I think in general we should be more educated about finance and about investing and about real estate during high school as well, right? I think one of my biggest goals is actually to pretty much change the education system and introduce a little bit more finance, a little bit more like useful things to learn.
Yeah, no, and I completely agree with that. I think that there's some basic math that could help people just not get into debt so young. Even Dave Ramsey, which I don't follow everything Dave Ramsey says, but his methods have helped a lot of people get out of debt. And I think if they taught something similar to what Dave Ramsey teaches in high school, it would help a lot of people avoid getting into that debt in the first place.
Definitely. Do you think for some reason like people on YouTube could do more to change that education system or
Yeah, I think definitely people on YouTube with their large platform have the ability to influence
yeah,
and to help a lot of people learn new things through something that's free and accessible. I think the only problem is that you have to be looking for that. Like to come across Graham Stephan, I had to be looking for financial education.
exactly.
I had to be looking up real estate and stocks, and I had to be actively seeking for it. And I think that it's not being pushed enough. It should be laid out and just right in front of people so they can grasp onto it, even if they don't care. Because I think it's important. I think a lot of people end up being in a place in life where they stop caring because they simply feel like there's no hope.
Mm.
Um, if we just pushed it and kind of did that tough love where we forced them to learn it, and like in school, for example, they wouldn't get to that place where they feel like there's no hope. Why should I even try now?
So maybe we should have like a YouTube course during high school where you could just watch YouTube during school. That would be
Something
pretty
like that,
good. Yeah.
maybe. Even just having more people like the Graham Steffens or Meet Kevins, or just people who are actively investing, and people even locally who have rental properties or who trade stocks or have their own businesses, putting those people in front of students and having them speak on that instead of bringing over like the valedictorians of colleges, or lawyers and doctors. That's always represented. I feel like we have a lot of what's it called? They used to have assemblies in school where they would bring like a doctor or a lawyer or the firefighters, but they don't bring a lot of entrepreneurs and a lot of
Mm.
business owners to talk to the students and give
That
them
would
a
be a great
different path.
idea. Yeah, I think that would be a great idea, definitely. So let's go back to investing a little bit, right? Because you said that you haven't been investing for so long. What happens when, for example, the stock market goes down and down like 20 to 30%? What happens to your mind?
Yeah, it's definitely an emotional roller coaster when
Yeah.
everything is going up and down and up and down. And I think that having Tesla stock has really helped me see this kind of volatility, because it's so volatile. And so I think the one thing you can do is just not look at it every single day and not be obsessed with the numbers. I have seen it be down 30% and I've seen it up 120%.
Yeah.
And so it's all over the place. And I think that just not obsessing over the number. I like to think that I haven't lost any money because I haven't sold. So no matter how low it gets, I haven't lost anything because I haven't sold.
You don't feel like selling on those days, then you don't feel like, oh my God, it's going down 20%. I gotta get out because it might go to zero.
I think that that mentality comes from buying more speculatively.
Hmm.
I think that for me, I don't buy anything that I feel is going to go bankrupt or has a chance of being bankrupt. I
Right.
see, for example, Tesla or Apple or Amazon or those big stocks. Although they can be volatile, they're very, very safe to me. And no matter how low they get, I just don't think I could realistically think, oh, they're not going to exist tomorrow. They are going to go bankrupt. And so I
Yeah.
always hold out on the idea that I have not sold. And so I have not lost anything and they'll go back up.
Right. So what kind of companies are you investing in, or are you investing in ETFs or like individual stocks? You already mentioned Tesla.
Yeah, I'm investing in ETFs, individual stocks. S&P 500 is my main one, or NASDAQ. And
Okay.
then I also invest in Tesla, Apple, Amazon, basically all the big stocks, Facebook,
The FANG
Microsoft.
stocks.
Yeah, yeah, those big stocks. And
Right.
apart from those, I have a couple ones that I like Neo or Home Depot or Lowe's, and just some stocks that I think are long-term stocks. They're not going to make me millions, but I think these are good buy and hold for the long-term stocks.
Yeah.
But most of them are just the big leading stocks here in America, and the rest are stocks that I just believe in that I don't see going bankrupt anytime soon.
So how did you come across the less popular stocks, so to say, the Neo and the Home Depot stocks?
Yeah, I watch a lot of research just through YouTube. I'm always on there researching and seeing what else there is to buy. And even on Webull or M1, you can click on any individual stocks and look at the comments and how people feel about them. And from there, just doing your own research. The internet is your best friend. I think that I think of stocks like Neo, and I think of stocks like Nikola, which Nikola
Hmm.
completely is gone now.
Yeah,
But
definitely.
um, just doing adequate research yourself. You don't need to know everything, but if you're not super confident, I wouldn't put too much money into it.
Yeah.
I put most of my stuff in the stocks that I feel immensely confident in, and apart from that, I like to just not gamble, but put money in the other stocks that I feel like are just going to stay consistent, and that I
Yeah.
don't see going bankrupt anytime soon. But those small
Yeah.
stocks, it's just research and seeing what other people are saying. There's no reason to change change what's already working.
I think the research part is very important, right? Because I think this year, especially, a lot of young people have entered the market. And when I go on platforms like Reddit, for example, you see these young investors who just started and now are already trading options and trading Bitcoin and trading the most volatile stocks out there, and they lose all their money in a few days' time. I think doing research is super important to pretty much hedge against that, right? Always do research before actually investing in a company.
Oh, absolutely. And I've seen a lot of instances where people just have gotten overwhelmed from seeing a large negative number on their screen because they did not know what they were doing.
Yeah,
And even myself, I've watched 4-hour courses from YouTube on how to trade options, and I just am still not ready to do it. I've done
yeah,
adequate research on it, and I still am not comfortable or confident enough to trade
no,
options.
no. I
It's just too risky for me at this
think you would
point.
need like months of training and exercise to just get that done to actually be able to trade options.
Yeah, and do it successfully. I think that a lot of people want to try what is the road least traveled by and
Yeah,
what they see as the high money maker. And I think options have a lot of opportunity for high rewards, but people don't take into account that a lot of people lose money, and the people making high rewards are people who have done this several times and have studied this for months or
exactly.
even years.
Yeah,
And someone who's brand new thinks they can replicate that.
definitely. So how much did you start with, more or less, when you started out investing?
I started when I was barely getting the hang of real estate. So I had probably maybe $1,000 that I had
Okay.
saved up from just working. I was working at Walmart. I had worked as a waitress before, and I was just saving up anything I could extra, and also in real estate. But real estate takes a while to get the hang of, and so I was getting the hang of it. This was back in February, March. But since then, I've just continued to put money into. I use Webull and M1, and
Hmm.
that $1,000, I just did what Kevin said and bought into like a Tesla, for example, or an Apple. That's the first ones I started with was S&P 500
Hmm.
and those big stocks, and I just did what I could. I had 1,000, I put it in, and from there, every time I got $20 or $40 or 50 or another 20, I just threw it in to throw anything I could because I knew that that opportunity wouldn't come again. I,
That's
I
great.
think back to the recession in 2008 here. I don't know if that happened globally or if that was just here in America,
Definitely.
but there was a
That was
recession.
globally. For sure.
Globally? Okay.
Yes.
um,
Unfortunately.
I think back to how it happened and how a lot of people who got in back then are now millionaires
Right.
because they got in when it was so low because they had the capital to do that.
Yeah.
And I saw this as the exact same opportunity, and so I decided to just go all in and throw all my money in there, anything I could. And I even started getting much better at real estate. And since then, I've amassed about 25,000 invested,
Oh wow.
and that happened within the span of 5 months because I went
Wow.
all in on working and learning so I could invest because that's simply what happened back in 2008 is people became millionaires from investing in 2008.
Yeah. So are you investing in real estate as well, or not yet?
Right now, because I'm a new agent, I don't have my 2-year tax returns, and
Hmm.
so I'm working on getting that right now. It'll probably take me another 6 months
Okay.
be able to collect my 2 years as a real estate agent. And
Yeah.
from there, I will then be able to buy a property. But my parents are builders. And so I'm also investing into their projects. They build new houses,
Cool.
and they're about to build a subdivision. And so I'm probably going to be investing some of my money into one of those. For me, I think that I love real estate and I see real estate as the avenue I'm going to go to millions. But I think that in investing, I want to invest so I can make more money for real estate.
Right. Yeah, because, well, I also see it with, well, Graham Stephan, for example. He used to have a lot of money in real estate, but now he seems to be diversifying a little bit more. Now he seems to be buying stocks more as well. So maybe, yeah, that's good to have, right? Some kind of diversification, not to be just invested in stocks, but also in real estate and also in maybe like crypto or whatever you want, right?
Yeah, I think it's good to be diversified because then if right now, for example, stocks are super volatile, but here real estate market is doing very well and it's actually up very high. And so although stocks are volatile, if you also own real estate, you'd see that your real estate properties are going substantially up in value.
Yeah.
Um, and someone who just had owned the stocks wouldn't have seen that, or vice versa. If you just owned the property, well, you wouldn't see the highs and the lows of stocks because
Right.
there has been some really high highs on the stocks as well.
Right. So do you have like a long-term goal for investing?
Yeah, I want to hit $1 million. I'm hoping that I can hit
Everyone
a
does,
million
right?
dollars assets. Yeah, everyone does. Everyone does, and I want to be a millionaire one day, and I think that it starts with the first million. And I see a clear cut path to that if I
Okay.
just continue doing what I'm doing now. And so I want to eventually own 5 properties and start buying one property a year after next year. And from there, I want to own rentals and just maybe even flip houses. Or I've thought of renting cars on Turo or doing whatever I can to get more capital to invest so I can get myself to that millionaire number. But it's going to take a lot of hard work, and that's kind of what I'm looking forward to. That's a goal of mine in life.
Do you have like a certain timeline? Do you know when more or less you're going to reach that 1 million?
Yeah, I'm thinking within the next 10 years that I
Okay.
will, because after the first property, I see it as being exponential growth.
Right.
Because I'm also wanting to eventually grow a real estate team of my own. I'm still learning and getting better every single day, but eventually I want to grow my own team. And then it's not just going to be me working, it's going to be multiple people working. And then upon having rental properties, it goes twos and twos. Maybe I'll throw in a fourplex, which would be adding 4 units, and it's just going to be exponential from there.
Wow.
And so I'm thinking within the next 10 years, it
That's
will
insane.
be it will be possible.
When you're almost as old as me, then you would be a millionaire.
Yeah, when I'm almost as old as you.
I'm almost 30, so and I'm not a millionaire yet. I can tell you that.
I think it depends on when people start. I think that you have to
Definitely.
start. I think also starting, even at your age, is better than most people. Some people never start.
Yeah,
And I think that starting at all is already you being ahead of most people in the world.
definitely. Yeah, I think so too. I mean, I started about 1 year ago, so when I was 28 years old. But yeah, I see so many people like you being so young and already starting to invest, which almost makes me a little bit jealous. I almost wish that I could go back in time like 10 years and then start investing right away, right?
I mean, even me who started like a year ago, I wish I started when I turned 18. I
Yeah.
mean,
Well,
I see people starting at 16 and forcing their parents
yeah.
to open a Roth IRA, and I'm like, man, I should have
Yeah.
started at 16.
I was in the comments today. I posted a YouTube video a few days ago, and there was a girl in the comments, and she was 14 years old, and she was actually asking me for stock advice. So that's pretty insane. I
Wow.
believe she's got like a custodial account, so together with her parents. I'm not entirely sure how that works, but yeah, at
Yeah.
14 years old, starting to invest, pretty insane.
Yeah, that's insane, and that's exactly what I'm talking about. I've seen I don't remember his channel name, but I've seen a kid on YouTube who's 13
Yeah,
and talking about the market, and
yeah,
he's talking about the things he's learning about stocks, and he's like, by the way, I'm 13, guys.
yeah. I've seen that guy too. I think he's in the comments a lot of the major channels as well.
Yeah, he is, but that's just insane. I think about that and how if or I think about every dollar I could have saved if every time I asked my parents for money to go buy a chocolate bar or something, oh, what if I saved every single dollar? How much money would I have now?
How many hundreds of dollars could that have been right now?
Exactly. Yeah, I would have easily been a millionaire by now if I had just
Yeah.
saved every chocolate bar dollar.
So I saw that you have a YouTube channel as well, right?
Yeah, it's just my name. It's Breyanna Nava, but I love YouTube so much, and I want to just be able to teach people how to do the same things I'm learning now. I've had a lot of friends tell me that I've helped them make more money, and I've helped them learn a little bit more about how to get control of their finances at
Yeah,
a younger age. Because I spread this stuff to all my friends. I try to get my friends to, I don't want my friends to end up like the majority of America ends up, where they're in piles of debt and no longer have hope. And so I tell everybody I know, like, please invest,
that's good.
please do something. Don't just follow the status quo, because it hasn't worked out for anybody. I think most people here, they work their whole life for 15 years of retirement. They'll work 40 years and retire at like 66, maybe
Yeah,
live till they're 80, and they have 15 years of their life for 40 years that they gave away.
right.
I just don't think that's fair.
No, and I actually saw one of your videos on YouTube, which was 6 ways to make extra money. That was an interesting one, especially the first one, because you've already mentioned it during this interview, but donating plasma was one of them.
Oh yeah. I'll You can make good money donating plasma, and
Yeah,
I think that here during this time they were actually having a higher demand because of coronavirus. They're trying to find cures, and they're trying to find different things that could help, and
right.
so they were offering, like, I got $200 for 1 hour um, previously.
$200 for 1 hour.
$200 for 1 hour of donating
Wow.
plasma, and
Okay.
I not only got $200, but I also helped them with research. And so
Yeah.
I will take what I can get, and that $200 went straight into Tesla stock, which is now triple.
That's awesome. So actually, you got like $600 for 1 hour.
Yeah, and I went back again and got another 200. So I've gotten probably like $1,200, probably
Wow.
more over time, just from. So say I've gone multiple times. You can go up to twice a week, and I recommend it to people because it's so easy. That is the easiest thing you could do to go make extra money, and just drink some water and schedule an appointment and go donate some plasma, and invest that. If you don't have any money, then go donate some
Yeah.
plasma,
Yeah, I
deliver
think
some food on DoorDash.
there are so many ways to get some additional income, right? Even if you just have like, I don't know, maybe $200 a month extra to invest, that would be already a pretty amazing return in like 10, 20 years, right?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I think of in general, the markets have usually gone up maybe 7-8%.
Yeah.
And
Per year.
so over the course of like 10, 20 years. And
Yeah.
so that would make a substantial difference in your life. Even just investing $100 a month is better than not investing at all. And
Definitely.
so I would encourage anybody, like, if you just have $50, I promise it's still worth it. It's still worth investing, even if you just have $50 to invest.
So are you currently doing any side hustles to get some additional income or just focused on real estate right now?
What I've been working on in regards to real estate is that I've been trying to make my time more productive. I actually had talked to my family, because my family is a family of business owners, and I talked to my dad and said, "Hey, what if I start a vending machine business? Do you mind if I borrow your trailer so I can go pick up a vending machine and start a vending machine business?" And he was like, "How much would that make you a year?" And I said, "It'd probably make me an extra 5,000 a year." And he
Wow.
said, "Is there nothing you could do in your real estate that could make you an extra 5,000 without the excess time you're using to get a vending machine, the maintenance and this?" And I told him, "Well, I probably could. I probably could manage in real estate to make an extra $5,000 without the same stresses and struggles of having a vending machine business." And
Yeah.
so I started looking at my time and time blocking better. Um, and what I mean by that is that sometimes an hour of my time will be 30 actual productive minutes.
Okay.
And I was thinking of, if I made the hour maybe 55 minutes to an hour of productive minutes, then I'm simultaneously making more money in the
Yeah.
same amount of time I'm already spending doing real estate, and
Yeah.
that could make me an extra $5,000. Because I get distracted easily. I'm a human being. I see my phone and I immediately just start looking at it. And so
Of
I
course.
need a sign on my back that says, "Don't talk to me. I will talk to you for another hour." And so yeah, I think I relate to that with a lot of people. You just get distracted, and so I could definitely be more productive with my time.
Yeah, I think that goes for pretty much everyone, right? Everyone being on Netflix for hours a day or being on social media for many hours a day, they could turn those hours into some work, some additional income, and yeah, start getting some more income and start investing as well, right?
Oh yeah, and I think of like 5 hours that I use uh, prospecting for real estate and working on leads. 5 hours could end up only being maybe 2.5 hours of actual time that I'm being productive. And so those five, I'm there for 5 hours, but I'm only actually being productive for 2.5.
Yeah,
And I could make that additional 5,000 from just being more productive, staying more focused, and it wouldn't take me any more time. And
exactly.
that's because I'm in a commission job. But I completely understand from someone else's perspective who works an hourly job or a salary paid job. I'm sure that there's at least an hour of your day that you're on Instagram or TikTok or social media and just mindlessly scrolling away. And
Exactly.
like about say DoorDash is that I listen to YouTube videos while I'm doing DoorDash, and so I can still listen to my YouTube videos. Um, but I also making some extra money while delivering food or doing something to get some extra income.
They're learning and working at the same time. That's pretty good.
Yeah, exactly. It's kind of like listening to a podcast, but I'll just have YouTube playing so I can hear it while
Yeah.
I'm making some extra money. And I think that's an option for a lot of people. I've actually had my aunt recently started doing DoorDash to make some supplemental income, and she's been making around 600 a week
Oh
just
wow.
extra
Extra income.
from
Okay.
DoorDash.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's
and
insane.
she's hustling, and she
Wow.
loves it because she can just listen to music and party on in her truck while delivering some food.
That's awesome. So let's switch a little bit here because I would also like to talk about the yeah so-called financial gap between men and women, right? Because I think a lot of people are talking about this gender pay gap that women actually earn less money than men do. But I also see a little problem here with investing because when I look around, I see mainly male investors, so men investing, but I almost don't see any people like you, girls or women investing. What do you think about that?
I think that's definitely true. You don't see as many women investing, and I think that part of that lies in just being traditional. I think it's very traditional for the man to be the so-called man of the household, the one who provides, and then the woman to be the caregiver and the one who is cared for. And I think that's very common in not even just here in America, but in a lot of cultures.
Yeah,
That's just common. And so a woman is more so looking for a partner that can support her. And even a lot of parents will say, "Oh, you need to find a man that we will be able to support you." And that's like the commonality. It's not you need to learn how to support yourself. That's not the thing that's commonly spoken and reiterated to women here across the globe. It's more so you need to find someone to take care of you,
yeah,
and that's a concern in getting married. Well, what does he do for a living? Is he going to be able to take care of you?
yeah,
As if the woman can't somehow muster up the will to take care of herself or muster up the financial stability on her own or find a well-paying career, which can be done. It can be done. There's plenty of women that become lawyers and doctors, but that's not the norm. That's just
yeah,
not the norm. Just like going to college is the norm, and you don't see as many people advocating for, oh, be an entrepreneur. The norm is for women to sit back and have someone take care of them as opposed to them investing and working to take care of themselves.
yeah. Because that already creates a gap, right? If a woman is getting earned or getting paid less than a man, that already creates a gap. But if on top of that, a man also invests his money and he's getting like 8% on his money every year, but a woman, on the other hand, is not investing and she's actually losing money due to inflation every year, that's going to create an even bigger gap in time, in 10 years, 20 years, 30 years time. So that's pretty insane. How do you think we could closing up that gap?
I think that just educating, and I think that's why I'm also on YouTube, because I want to be a female that's in the finance space. And even in on YouTube, you can see that the top investing channels and finance channels are all men. You know, Graham Stephan, me, Kevin, Andre
Yeah,
Jick. They're all men, and I don't see a lot of. Well, I can't even name one finance
exactly.
channel that is at the top, maybe a million, 2 million followers up there, that is a female. And so I want to try to be that on the platform, and I think that would make a big difference in just having more representation. But I think it starts with you being that representation, and I'm talking about myself there,
Yeah,
instead of expecting other people to do it.
yeah. So how do you think we could almost convince more women to start investing?
I think it has to be more mainstream. I think that the same way that we're talking like this right now is that we need to make it more common for things to be taught in school, like investing. I think that the fact that men are already raised to be the caregiver and the money maker in the household already leans them to look for ways to make more money, because they're the ones who are supposed to be making the money,
Yeah,
supposedly, traditionally. And so for women, that's not instilled at a young age. It's not like you need to learn how to make money, you need to learn how to provide. That's just not something that's instilled. And I think if we taught younger generations in high school, for instance, like we previously mentioned, I think that there would be a higher percentage of females and males, because there's some males that don't care, that they don't invest either. I
yeah,
think that if it was taught in school, then a higher percentage of females would want to learn more about it, or it
definitely.
would pique their interest.
Yeah, because right now I think if I look around, it's usually like 90 to 95% of people investing are actually a man or actually male, I think. What do you think? Do you see any female investors around you?
Yeah, I think that it is mostly men, and I think that I don't see a lot of female investors around me. I wish I saw more of them, but I think that just teaching people at a younger age, just like how it's easier to learn languages when you're in a young age, it's easier to catch on to investing and good habits when you are younger than when you're older. It's so much harder to change habits when you're older, after you're stuck in a pile of debt that you feel hopeless. It's better to catch those things before they happen. And I think if we started educating more younger people, then they would strike interest on that themselves. And
Right.
they especially, I think people in high school, I don't think they're dumb. I think that they see how America is struggling, and they see their parents, for example, being in bad situations or constantly being stressed about money. And I think they do want better for themselves, but they don't know where to go. They don't know what to do about it. They only know what they know, and unless you put something else in front of them, they won't know any other option other than go into major piles of debt to go to college and work a 9 to 5 job until I'm 66 to
Yeah.
retire.
Yeah, that's so true. So are you like talking with your friends, your female friends about investing or not?
Yeah, I have a lot of friends who agree and who want to learn more about it, but they just don't know where to start. And I also have a lot of friends
Right.
who, at my age, everyone is partying, everyone is out having fun. And
That's
so I
true.
have a lot of friends who are like, oh, you just need to chill out. You need to just come and party and hang out. And
Yeah, of
I totally do that too. I need to hang out every now and then. I need to relax. I'm still
course.
20 years old.
Of course.
But I think that right now the priorities just aren't there. I have a lot of friends who do want to invest and who do want a better future and who are actively thinking about this stuff, but the majority of them are not, are very, oh, I'm just going to wait. I don't need, that's not something I need to worry about right now.
Yeah.
It's not as important. I can deal with that when I'm 30. But day by day, there's a lot of people who are switching up as they're seeing the success I'm having,
Yeah.
or as they're seeing my friend Eduardo, for example. He just bought a Tesla, and he's 19, and he just bought a brand new Tesla Model
Oh wow.
3 and got his real estate license and is investing. And this is my best friend, and we think the exact same. Again, he's a man though, so uh, that men are more likely to invest. But even seeing him at a young age is encouraging to a lot of other people who are in our same friend group.
Yeah, I
And
think the age always.
people
Sorry. I'll continue. The age is always going to make a difference as well, right? Because as you said, when you're younger, you might not think that much about investing, and you might not even have a lot of money to invest just yet. But when you get older, when you are like maybe 25 years old, and you actually have a job, and you actually have a recurring stream of revenue, then I do think it's very important to start thinking about it very seriously.
Yeah, I agree. I think most people don't think about it because they don't have the funds to even try to invest. And unless you're actively thinking of investing, why would you look out for trying to make extra money to be able to invest if you're not even thinking about it
Right.
anyways? I have a lot of friends who work some grocery jobs or waitresses, and there's nothing wrong with that. But I think that I also have friends who have been able to get themselves into like $50,000 a year jobs
Hmm.
at the age of 20 with no college degree.
Oh
And
wow.
it's just because they simply were like, oh, I'm going to contact places, and one of them has to accept me.
Yeah,
And that's just a different mentality than thinking, oh, there's no way I could get that job. Because there's plenty of people who wouldn't have even applied. He
definitely.
was like, I don't care. I'm just going to apply. There's no harm in applying. Let's see what happens. And they got hired. And so it's just looking for those opportunities. And they did that because they wanted to invest, they wanted to find a way.
Yeah, I think getting a college degree is almost a little bit overrated, I would say. I think a lot of people are still stuck in this traditional way of thinking that you need to go to school, you need to go to college, then you can start looking for a job. But many times you can just start looking for a job way earlier and, yeah, just get started like that. You often don't even need the degree, right?
Yeah, I would agree with that. I even have a friend who's an electrician who knows an electrician and started trying to just figure it out. And he started working for the
Yeah,
business, and now he's making, I don't know how much he's making exactly, but he's making a pretty good income just from learning right off the bat. And that's just what he did right out of high school. And a lot of other people have the same option. It's just also, I think that it's very hard to know exactly what you want to do in life right out of high school. And so a lot of people go to college to try to pass time while you figure it out. But it's definitely an expensive way to pass time.
definitely. Yeah, horribly, horribly expensive. Okay, I think
Yeah.
I would like to end this interview with just one last question, okay? Imagine there's a 25-year-old girl right now who's not investing just yet, and she's got like, let's say, $100 per month to invest. What would you tell her? What should she do with her money?
I think that there is no need to reinvent the wheel. And so I'd say that the safest thing you can do with $100, especially starting out, because you don't know much about investing. I'd say invest in something like an S&P 500, um, maybe look into a Roth IRA, use something simple like that. That is just the S&P 500 is something safe because it's made up of 500 stocks that are publicly traded, and it's consistently gone up over time. I wouldn't say go into single stocks and options trading and speculate or anything, but
Definitely.
I think something
No
safe
Tesla.
like investing in ETFs. Yeah, no
Yeah.
Tesla, no
No
Tesla
Bitcoin, maybe.
right off the bat. But investing in ETF sounds like a good bet.
Yeah.
That seems like the safest, easiest thing, especially starting out. And as you start learning more and getting into it and like investing, then it would be time to look into single stocks you like and other things like that.
I think that's awesome. I think that's a great answer. Thank you so much for your time today, Brianna. I'm going to make sure to link to your YouTube channel in the description so that other people can follow you as well on your journey to becoming a real estate agent and to becoming, well, at least a millionaire when you're 30 years old, and also when you're becoming a very important YouTuber to show other women that you can actually invest as well as a woman.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much.
All right.
I really enjoyed talking to you.
Great. Yeah. Thank you so much. Thanks for your time. Stay safe and bye bye.
Bye.
Millennials, please share this video with someone who isn't investing their money just yet, especially your female friends. We really need to close the financial gap between men and women. And one way you can help me doing that is by sharing this video with at least one person who can benefit from Breyanna's story. Alright, with that being said, thanks a lot for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye!